Founded in the US in 1997 and based in St. Louis, Missouri, Build-A-Bear is a multi-generational global brand that is focused on its mission to add a little more heart to life. It actually appeals to a wide variety of consumers who enjoy the personal expression of being able to make their own furry friends to celebrate and commemorate life's moments. Their CEO is Sharon Price John, and I got to meet her at their UK corporate headquarters. My name is Rosanna Lockwood, and this is A Moment With.
So nice to meet you. Welcome to Build-A-Bear's headquarters in the UK.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's so fun being here.
Come on upstairs.
Thanks for having me at these lovely offices.
Oh, thank you. We love it here. Well, I'd love to chat a little bit about what we've been doing and our expansion and our evolution.
Yeah, I'll
really.
pop around the other side.
Okay.
Yes, I'd love to find out more. I mean, I don't know as much as I potentially could about Build-A-Bear.
Yeah.
It's a familiar brand in the UK. It's got a long, long history, 1997.
That's right. We've celebrated our 25th anniversary last year, and it did start in the United States. It started in a city called St. Louis, Missouri, and our founder, Maxine Clark, had envisioned an experience-based retailer where kids could literally come in and go through a process and make a teddy bear. We have a mission statement. It's called to add a little more heart to life.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a play on the experience at Build-A-Bear, and you've been there.
Yeah.
But for people that maybe haven't been to Build-A-Bear, you don't just build the bear and pick out the outfit, and you get to kind of go through the stuffing process. And the most sort of memorable part of that is when the person that we call a bear builder has this little satin heart, and you make a wish on the heart, and you go through a whole, again, a separate ceremony almost. That moment, it's really magical.
Yeah.
It almost comes to life for a child, and it becomes their furry best friend for life.
There are a lot of different varieties and a lot of different characters as well. So this one's popular, the Valentine's bear, I can understand, with the couples. In terms of the kids, have you got like a sort of classic favourite that people tend to
We have two classics. Actually, this particular fella, his name is Happy Hugs, for obvious reasons. He's very, what we would call, dressable.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is our more classic teddy bears. So these are both two of our most popular bears.
It must make such memories for the children.
Oh,
I mean, yeah. Oh, it's fantastic.
Now, the one thing you might not realize is that some of the products are very collectible.
I was going to ask you about
Yes,
this.
and that collectability is not just for the kids, but it also appeals to adults. And now with some of our licensed products and our collectible products and our evolution to be a much more digital experience now, we're not just at retail and in stores anymore. You can also experience Build-A-Bear online. 40% of our sales are now to teens and adults, which is usually surprising.
Yeah. I want to ask so much more about your journey through the company as well. We'll continue to talk about some of these challenges, but also the future. But let's take a sit down, and we'll get a bit comfortable and carry on this conversation.
Thanks.
Okay. Sharon, it's so good to speak to you because Build-A-Bear has this recognisability. It's built such a powerful brand all the way since 1997. So speaking to the CEO of Build-A-Bear, I'm just interested what drew you to start working with the company.
In some ways, you probably could look at it and believe that there's this arc of planning, an enormous vision of my career.
Yeah.
Because I started out in the kids business and worked in the toy industry at two of the largest toy companies in the world, Mattel and Hasbro, and then went to a fashion footwear company where I was the president of Stride Right Retail. And that was, in some ways, this kind of last little bit of the toolbox that I needed to somehow be a really valid candidate to become the CEO of Build-A-Bear. But I didn't plan on becoming the CEO of Build-A-Bear. I was recruited to do so after Maxine Clark, the founder, decided to step down in 2013.
So interesting that you picked up this role in 2013 directly from Maxine Clark, who founded the company. I mean, huge responsibility.
Without a doubt. And so many founders have such a big impact, obviously, and their personas are larger than life. And Maxine is no different. She has a great drive, a tremendous energy, but also a very definite point of view, which was a little bit of a different point of view than I was going to bring. And I think, though, that Maxine and I had a really personal meeting of the minds. And Maxine also understood that it needed to change to be able to do that. In many ways, we look back at it now as a very nice transition. And it was very important to me that the people inside of Build-A-Bear knew that I was going to respect Maxine and respect what Maxine had done.
Interesting to note the time period where you took over 2013 to now, as you say, a full decade. A lot has happened in that time in the retail space itself, but in the world. The pandemic feels very recent. There's been recessions, there's been inflation, there's been supply chain shocks. I mean, just talk to me a little bit about the story, especially in recent years, of how you've navigated that.
So when I did take over Build-A-Bear, it was a turnaround situation. And so the very early order of business was to return to profitability as quickly as possible, while assessing and developing a much broader, longer range strategy on where we could go as a company. I had a lot of different levers that I could pull pretty quickly, and we were able to return to profitability. And I signed up for that. But there was a lot of things that you're implying and referring to that I did not sign up for.
Right.
I did not sign up for COVID. I did not sign up for Brexit. And I did not sign up for the retail apocalypse. But at the end of the day, though, when you think about the strategy that we identified, could create diversified revenue streams to access this equity and monetize it, was the underlying premise of the strategic shift. We also felt that because this was an emotional brand, that we had an opportunity in content creation and entertainment, while taking much of this and replicating it in other countries, because the teddy bear hug is understood in every language.
Absolutely. Of course it is. Everyone can associate with a bear. And a lot of that strategy you're talking about, especially that quote-unquote retail apocalypse, and the way you shifted your strategy preceded what then went to be the pandemic, which caused a lot of companies who were late adopters to get caught short. But you seem to have come out of it a lot stronger.
The power of the brand is not just with our guests, it's internally as well. One of the most powerful pieces of why we are able to continue to thrive. And we take that mission statement of adding a little more heart very seriously with each other, with our vendors, how we treat our coworkers, how we think about our plans, how we think about our strategies, how we think about our Build-A-Bear Foundation.
Talk to me about that leadership style and the values that you use from that sort of top-down approach, especially during COVID. How did that affect the way you operated as a business?
Speed is more important than perfection in that particular environment. We have to be thinking about the future, thinking way out in the future, assessing the now versus the next. When you have to shut down 90% of your revenue stream, which is all of our stores around the globe in 24 hours, start preserving cash, furlough 90% of your organization, and really not know if you're ever going to reopen and your stock price goes to $1.
Extraordinary. I mean, let's talk about the next then, because the journey that you've been on from there, stock price at $1, as you're saying, and that really crisis moment for the entire world, to what has happened in the last sort of 3 years for your business. Absolutely extraordinary.
So much of the work that we had been doing that was reflective of this strategic shift. In fact, we went through a process of separating the workshop from the brand. We made the workshop the place so that people would think about it as our website and our stores. And this is actually the brand mark of the separation of Build-A-Bear Workshop from Build-A-Bear the brand, and that the brand was bigger than the place. Therefore, the brand could stretch into all these new revenue streams, inclusive of entertainment, for example. And building something for the future that was much more diversified and integrated with a goal of creating an ecosystem, something else to do inside of that ecosystem that's not related to the stores.
Lovely.
that then makes you want to come back to Build-A-Bear. So all of that work was well on its way when COVID hit. And we then sort of separated ourselves from COVID, rethought how can we take this moment. Interestingly, as we evolved through 2020, I thought we need to add another value. We added the value of when at the beginning of 2021.
Oh, wow.
We are diversifying this company. If we can make it through this, we can do anything. And at the end of it, 2021 became the most profitable year in the history of the company. And someone called me from the organization and they said, "Oh my goodness, Sharon, we 2021.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, what a triumph. And to my understanding, it's continued 2022, 23, and it's not just a case of that immediate bounce back after COVID, but there's something in there that's lasting.
Yes, we have fundamentally shifted who we are as an organization. And that's unlocked a significant future opportunity for our company and the way people think about our company.
You mentioned the Build-A-Bear Foundation a few minutes ago. I want to ask you a bit more about that and the way that philanthropy plays into this company. Talk to us a little bit about how you translate that into the real world, beyond your customers.
So our Build-A-Bear Foundation was actually created at the same time that the company was created. And the foundation started for the health and well-being of children in need or distress situations. And we have had key partners through the course of time. And we give away tremendous amount of teddy bears from an in-kind perspective, but we also provide actual funds. Recently, during the 25th anniversary, we had a gala to celebrate that. We expanded the mission statement to be inclusive of early childhood education and have partnered with certain book organizations in different countries where it makes sense.
We've talked a little bit about the profitability of the business, especially in the last few years and this current year, looking good as well. In terms of the future and where you want to take things from here, talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing down the pipeline.
So we're still building out a lot of the technology to optimize this new infrastructure. The ability to help our guests and be of service to our guests. We can be an important part of people's lives. So we see ourselves in the future as more of a service brand to be there as a part of memory making and celebration. Now, the future, we believe, is taking much of this model and this infrastructure and building it out more globally. We've also partnered, just recently we've announced with a film with Hello Sunshine, which is Reese Witherspoon's company that's pipelining a number of different films coming down the pipe as well. We just recently completed our documentary, and we've continued to create our own intellectual properties that are sub-brands like Honey Girls and also like Glisten and the Merry Mission, which is a feature-length animated film that will be out this holiday.
That's fantastic. It's fascinating to hear about how you can expand the brand and a little bit about you, your values as a CEO of this company. It's clearly been going very well, especially the last few years, and we wish you all the best in the future. Sharon Price John, CEO of Build-A-Bear, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.